Hi, welcome to the Dive In. I'm your host, Kathleen, and today I'm joined by my good friend Akash. He's back by popular demand, my demand, because I have not released any other episodes yet. So say hello, Akash.
Hello, everyone that is listening from wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If it is night, go to bed. I don't know why you're listening to me. My voice is not that soothing. And to keep me awake on this morning, I have my Baymax coffee cup because I
Baymax.
love Baymax. It even has little faces, so if you drink more coffee,
Yeah,
the happier you become. I'm a big fan of this cup.
that's
Um,
very cute.
it doesn't really matter what espresso I'm drinking today. It's okay. I don't want to be sponsored by this coffee company. So we're going to move on. But let me tell you, I did make it taste good.
Do you want to include a coffee company that was better than this one?
Euphoria Coffee from West Union, Iowa is one of the best coffee shops I've ever been to. The owners were very nice. I had a lovely shot of espresso there. If you're ever in West Union, Iowa, don't know why you would be, but if you are, you should stop by Euphoria Coffee or order their coffee online like I do. It's very good. Check it out. I'm not sponsored by Euphoria Coffee, but I am willing to be.
Awesome. Well, today we are going to dive in to Mad Max Fury Road. Zero is joining us as well as
He is.
Blaze,
He is
who is
going to town
hiding.
on an antler. You guys just enjoy watching his big head.
Now, neither of us had seen Mad Max Fury Road before, so this was definitely new for both of us. I don't think either of us had actually seen any of the films, correct?
No, I found out very recently that the original trilogy was released 30 years before Mad Max Fury Road. So it actually came out before I came into existence, which is crazy. I did not realize there was that much of a span between.
Yeah,
So
like
this was my first installation into the world of Mad Max.
yeah, same. And just for reference, like the first one came out in 1979, and then the third one came out in 1985, and we didn't get this one until 2015. So yeah, definitely there's 30 years in between. Same director who also like co-wrote all of the films and is currently writing and directing Furiosa and the sequel that's coming out
Didn't know they
eventually,
already.
possibly, maybe. Yeah,
Wow,
no,
did not know that.
yeah, he has just been working on it's George Miller is the director. I guess there was like a lot of just a lot of delays in general in this movie to start with. They originally tried to get this film to shoot in 2001. Ultimately, it was delayed because of 9/11. And then
Yeah.
it kept getting pushed back to the point where Mel Gibson, who was in the original first three playing Max, he said himself that he was a bit old to be playing Max. So then they had to replace him. And that's how we ended up getting Tom Hardy. They finally were able to shoot the film in 2012.
Wow. I didn't that
Yeah.
I mean, I understand wanting to bring Mel Gibson back. However, I think he was right. It would have been a lot for him, honestly, and I know his health isn't the greatest currently.
Yeah. And I mean, not to get like political, I think some people were saying there was stuff going on in 2000 and in the early 2000s that I don't know. I was too young for all of that, but I think he wasn't in a great place as
I
far
was just
as
trying to drink Capri Sun in the early 2000s.
yeah, right. Capri Sun, juice boxes, Saturday morning cartoons. It seems like a typical Saturday morning
Yeah,
now,
Saturday
but
morning cartoons, that's a whole other conversation.
this movie ended up winning six Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director. And it's the first time Mad Max was recognized for anything by the Academy. So, which
I'm
is,
sorry. Hold on. This won an Oscar?
yeah, six.
This was a fun movie. This was a fun movie. You're telling me this is on the same level as other Oscar award winning movies?
Mhm.
That is amazing because Max was in this movie. Mad Max was present in this movie.
Yep.
I'm gonna let you keep going, but that's just a hint for what's to come.
I see you're a big fan of this movie. Yeah.
I was actually. I enjoyed this movie.
You just don't think it was on the level of Oscar winning or
I,
Oscar nominating.
the main character of this movie, let me find out how many words he says in this whole movie. It's just amazing because this movie could have been called
Furiosa.
Mad Max Furiosa, honestly, because that was an interesting character. All right, please tell me how many lines you think Max had in Mad Max Fury Road.
Do grunts count?
I want to say just lines of dialogue. Let's just say how
Okay,
many lines
actual
of dialogue,
words.
like full sentences. We'll count a word that a grunt
Okay.
is a full sentence even.
I'm like, does he say more than like no, or go? Six.
So Mad Max in Fury Road only has 63 lines of dialogue.
63. Okay.
Furiosa had 80.
63 to 80.
It is much better than I thought. How many
Yeah.
lines? So a
Wait,
movie has thousands of lines.
but like, are you counting like, because he does a lot of grunts. Like, does that count as a line of dialogue?
In what I am finding, here's the overview. This movie is a movie you need to watch and
Yes.
understand that you're not going to understand everything going on. Just whatever information they give to you is all the information you need. The entire script with character names and headings. The whole script was 4,944 words. It was less words than a high school essay.
Yeah, that's not a lot. That's only a couple pages, and you got to write quite a few pages for a movie. So
It
that's,
was like, and it is a fantastic movie. There is a story that is being told that we'll get into later. Like it was very like you care about some of these characters. Like they make you care about the important characters in this movie, which is wrong of them to do that. And it is it is not a movie you watch for the dialogue. The dialogue
yeah,
only serves for you to understand what is transpiring,
yeah.
and then everything else is shown to you, like very Chekhov's gun like. Don't show it if it doesn't mean anything, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I talked to you about this offline, but it's just very nonstop action, but you learn what you need to learn through the action.
I'm
There's the
finding that the previous movies had even less dialogue for Max.
I mean, that seems about right, but we'll definitely talk about that, I think, a little bit more as we go on today. But
I had no idea that it won an Oscar. That is
mhm.
astounding.
Yeah. No,
That
I mean, it wasn't for like acting or anything, but it was like directing and production, and I think like
oh,
maybe
absolutely,
like
100.
things along those lines, which like was visually, it's a stunning movie. Like, and just the way that they cut the film together was impressive as well.
Honestly, like give the production people a freaking raise. Give the lighting guy a raise. Give the CGI people a raise. Um,
Yeah,
I
they
guess you
knew.
can. Yeah, like honestly, it was beautiful,
Yeah,
utterly beautiful. CGI today has nothing on it.
yeah. Oh, yeah, no. That's a whole other podcast.
That's a future episode.
Um, okay, yeah. So I do want to like shout out. So Furiosa, we know, is played by Charlize Theron, and actually, it's been about 9 years since the release of this movie. We're about to, I think, in like 2 weeks, Furiosa comes out, which is supposed to be a prequel to Fury Road, and it's starring Anya Taylor-Joy. And I looked into why Charlize Theron wasn't like returning. It wasn't really clear. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Furiosa also had setbacks. I mean, we had writer's strike and COVID and everything. And I think she just decided she did it's her choice. She doesn't have to come back. She doesn't want to come back.
Also,
Yeah.
she's not a B-list name. Charlize Theron is like
I
a
mean,
AAA movie star.
but Anya Taylor-Joy is kind of getting on that level.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just
Yeah.
saying like Charlize Theron at this point like is
Yeah.
expensive.
Yes. That is true. Yeah.
Like Tom
Um,
Hardy's not cheap either.
That's true. Yeah, they have like they're planning a sequel, which I don't even think they've started filming. No one knows if Tom Hardy's reprising his role. And I'm kind of like, well, if Tom Hardy does reprise his role, is Anya Taylor-Joy going to show up? Like, if they include Furiosa since they're doing this whole prequel.
I'm a
Yeah.
big Tom Hardy guy,
Oh,
i.e.
yeah.
my Batman shirt.
So in our opening scene, we see who is our quote unquote leading man, Mad Max, and he like is just standing in a wasteland, just desert. He's by his car. You hear like giggling of a little girl, and you watch him eat a two-headed salamander. And then he has this little Bane-like voiceover just talking about how he's haunted from those he couldn't protect and how he runs from both the living and the dead. And I was kind of like, wow, they're really trying to lead in or lean into like him being mad. But all of this seems very sane to be in a post-apocalyptic desert. Like he's probably like lack of water. I would hear and see things too. And if I saw a lizard and I was hungry, I don't know. Like none of it seems very outlandish,
It
but
didn't
it
even
seemed
seem
very
like it.
bad.
It wanted to show this like haunted protagonist. That's
Yeah.
the horrors of his past have led him to this life. He's
Yeah.
all alone, but he's still alive. But it doesn't really tell us why he wants to stay alive. I mean, humanity. You want to not die.
Yeah.
However,
It's
it's
kind
set
of
up for
like
this world, and it set it up in such a manner that the 14-year-old in me was very pleased about it. I was like, oh yeah, haunted protagonist, last of
yeah.
his kind, last of his kin. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, two-headed salamander. Like this was. It also showed him to be a no-nonsense guy. He just bit into that two-headed salamander.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no idea if it was a salamander. It could have been a newt. I'm not a lizard expert.
I don't know. I know it's not a li
I'm not
I
Rob.
know
I'm
it's not
not.
a lizard, but it was like definitely like a I think a salamander. I don't know.
I'm
It's
not Robert Irwin.
it
I
was
don't know
two
how to do
it
it.
was two-headed. Who knows what it was?
I think it was just to set up like post-apocalyptic like
Yeah.
mutations and things. I
Yeah.
think that did do good enough. That scene leading to him being chased, which
Yeah.
wasn't a big chase sequence, like it was pretty quick, but it like set up the whole like people are crazy,
Yeah.
he's crazy, two-headed salamander, shaved neo-Nazi like cult. I know they weren't neo-Nazis, but they kind of were.
Yeah, like they were very pale, shaved heads, just aggressive war. I think for the most part, I think I referenced them as war boys through most of this, but
The
because
War Boy. Okay,
yeah,
we're saying their name. But the War Boys were in fact boys. None of
yes.
these. There was not. It was almost like idiocracy. Like the IQ of the planet has dropped severely.
Yeah, but they also probably don't live very long in this society, so it makes sense for them to be young and naive, and they don't have an education. They don't. I'm getting real political about this. They don't have an education. They probably have horrible health. And so
I
the
think that's what
only the
we.
rich are get older.
It's not even rich in this. I think it's
Yeah,
interesting because this leads right into the next scene. We see that Immortan Joe
yeah,
has access to water, which clearly he got from the earth. But they don't explain that until way later. And they don't need to. It's like, water comes from underground.
yeah,
And clean water in a desert, difficult. So he's in charge. He's able to do it. He's got an
yeah.
army. He's in charge. And then we get back to Max, and he's being used as a literal living blood bag for,
Yes.
I think his name was Nux,
Yeah, nuts. Yeah.
Nicholas Holt.
Yes.
Very good actor. He was set up as a literally living blood bag because Nux was basically dehydrated, dying, like he was not well. So it's very
Yeah.
clear they kidnap these people, even if they're not healthy, and then mark them, like brand them
No,
for their
literally
blood
tattoo
type.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they were tattooing him when they could have just like hot sticked him.
Yeah, and just check mark whatever it was.
Exactly. So it was interesting. They
Yeah.
tattooed the back of Max
Yeah.
about what's wrong with him, his blood type, and
Yeah.
he's a universal donor. So they have the ability in this world
I'm
to
glad.
test blood types.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, that he's a universal donor. I did not catch that because I had some issues about something later on, but we will talk about that later.
Yeah, so we've got this happening. We've
Yeah.
got this happening, right? And to the audience, those of you that have seen this movie know what I'm about to say. Those of you that don't, when you go to the doctor and they stick the little blood thing here, it makes sense. They stuck this man straight up, like in the chest, like close to the heart, and put him upside down. I'm sorry, but gravity at that point is working the blood really hard. So this nuts guy was getting it straight to the veins, like he should have been like raging already.
Yeah. I wonder if he had like a ton of blood loss or something, and that's why he
It's got to
needed
be just
a
like
blood transfusion.
like you said, the war boys don't live long. Like this has to be a
Yeah.
common thing, and if they don't
Yeah.
get new blood from people
May
like Max, like they just die, right?
Yeah, maybe he was sick and maybe they practiced bloodletting or something and like let him bleed out till he was better and now they have to replenish the blood.
Yeah, and
I don't
it's
know.
all of these war boys are very much. Immortan Joe was a cult leader. He's got all these people believing they're going to go to Valhalla
Yes,
in the
yeah.
set, but like they were saying it as Valhalla. If you
Okay.
caught that,
Y-
they were like each
Didn't.
one of them was like the pearly gates and basically the V6 god. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. Did you understand what they were doing when they put like the silver paint all over and pretty much in their mouth as well?
I think it was basically getting high, like sort of like nitrous.
Okay.
I don't think nitrous does that to your teeth, but like maybe whatever. Like it had to have been both a symbolic and drug fueled frenzy because it's when they do it when they're about to commit suicide,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
kamikaze suicide.
yeah, 100%.
We're recording this in Mental Health Month. If any of you have any friends, please seek help that are going through something. There are resources available,
Yes, yes.
but it was
Um,
crazy. I like they we saw this happen like once before uh, leading to the next scene, Max obviously gets taken with Nuts because
mhm.
Nuts is like, "I'm the driver."
Okay, well, you're jumping ahead just a little
Sorry,
quick. No,
sorry.
you're
I like that's
fine.
the next. Could we talk about the silver? You
Yeah,
lead
yeah,
on to
I
the
know.
next
I
scene.
know. We're going all over the place. But no, so like after we see that like Max is being used as a blood bag for Nex, it switches over to Furiosa and she is essentially sent on like a trade run by Emerson Joe.
To get gas, basically.
Yeah, to like trade for gas and I think food probably gas and food. Whatever resources they have to trade.
Guzzolene was the name referred to
Oh,
in the
for
movie.
gas?
Yeah,
Gasoline?
Guzzolene, Guzzone. Because I was like, they weren't referring to it as gas. So
Yeah.
Guzzolene, but that's what's used. That is a name used to refer to gasoline in the whole of the Mad Max series, apparently. So it is not just unique to Fury Road.
Interesting. So I was actually curious, like, why Furiosa wasn't like she's obviously like the only female that's going on this trade run.
I think she was called
And she
Imperator Furiosa because like she was like
hmm,
somewhere in the totem pole high up.
kind of, yeah. And like when I tried to like do some research as to like why she wasn't like a wife of Joe's, why she wasn't a breeder, and I guess like her like Charlize Theron and George Miller, they had a discussion outside of the movie and were like commenting about like why Furiosa wasn't a wife of Joe's. And they kind of came up with a backstory about her being like we know that she as they say further on that she gets kidnapped when she was a kid and they like were saying that like oh she was kidnapped for those reasons to be a breeder to but it turns out that she was infertile so they kind of discarded her and she grew up with the war boys and grew up around them and pretty much no one really noticed that she was there and she just kind of worked her way up. Hearing that I'm very intrigued about what the Furiosa movie is going to do, see if they like stick with that with what they came up with behind the scenes or if they're gonna do something different.
It is going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Leading to the next scene, though,
Yes.
what is it?
So
It's Guzzolene and Aqua Cola are the names for this movie for
cola.
gas and water, respectively. Yeah, Aqua
Yeah.
Cola.
Okay,
I was like,
that is very idiocracy, like with the Gatorade.
yep.
Watering all the plants with Gatorade. Oh my gosh, I love that movie. Furiosa, obviously, she's all driving the rig and goes off course. Joe notices and finds all of his wives, all five of his wives are missing.
The
And
oldest
it
of which looked like she was like 14 to like
right,
17.
yeah, they were
I
all
was, they
models.
made you very
Um,
easily dislike Immortan Joe.
yes. And he pretty much just takes his entire army of war boys and like some of his allies, and they all just completely go after Furiosa. And I think so. A lot of these names I did not pick up on when I watched the movie, and I had to learn it when I was going through all these notes. But his allies are Gastown and Bullet Farm.
Yes,
Yes,
Gastown and Bullet Farm,
yes.
and led
I
by
wonder
the
what they
Bullet
do.
Farmer and the People Eater. You know, they're probably just raising corn,
Corn. I
growing
mean,
corn and wheat.
corn is very versatile. I mean, like that's a good thing to good
I
business to
have
be
no
in.
idea what these people are eating in this world. Like we see the only food we see in this entire
A
movie
salamander.
is a salamander. As far as I remember, I don't think I see any of the other characters eat anything.
Yeah. Sorry, Khaleesi. So my cat just has joined us. But she has squished herself between me and the back of my chair. And she blends in very well.
We've got a recurring cast of creatures on my
Blaze is
side.
here now. Look at
Blaze
that.
is here. He's like, I heard my name. It was interesting because so they're going after Furiosa now.
Yes.
Nicholas Holt Nux
Yes.
is
Yes,
partner.
he is like adamant that he has to join. He's like, I have to do this because for Valhalla, like I have to go. And that's when they decide to strap Max onto like to the front of the car as if he's like a mermaid on a ship.
Yup.
Yeah.
And it is hilarious. There is a giant posse chasing after Furiosa, and it's got people from Bullet Town and sorry, Bullet Farm and Gas
Gastown.
Town, which is interesting. They call it Gasoline when the town is called Gas Town,
Gastown.
and so they're chasing after her. They're catching up slowly because she's driving a big rig that just doesn't go as fast. However, it's very interesting that nobody at this point has said, why are we all going after her and wasting our gasoline?
Right? I was like,
They
that's
just
a
they
lot of
just
people.
go.
Like, there's got to be more women in this. Like, there's
And
plenty of women there that you can replace.
but at this point, the greatest character in this movie shows up completely unannounced, and we see him for the majority of the film, and he is by far the best moment in this film. We have a guy with an electric guitar
This
standing on a
guy.
stage
I
with
was like, who are you
amps
going for?
out, multiple amps that when he plays, fire comes out of. And we have freaking live chase music. I'm sorry. At that point, I was on Team Immortan Joe because he knows how to have a good time.
Oh my gosh,
This
I
guy was like,
completely forgot about this guy,
he
but
is
they,
the greatest character in this film, in my opinion. I was literally like, you know what? You didn't have me, but right now I'm all
no.
in. I'm all in.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh. And they had they
fantastic.
had him strapped in. So if anything happened, he was staying there so
He
that
was
he could
right, and
play for
he was
them.
shredding the whole time. He was like, da da
Yes.
da 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 da. I don't know why I said the Batman theme just right there. That's not what he was playing, but still,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I completely forgot about that guy. That's so funny.
I loved him. I loved him with all my heart. If I can find his name, I will. I will. I'll
You're
look it
gonna
up
shout him
right now.
out.
Absolutely. But
Yeah,
no, like, how did you feel about like, because they pulled this
yeah,
team together in like it seemed like 5 minutes.
yeah. Like it was quick. I'm curious about like their. Did we see how they like flagged down his allies, like to come join them? Did they
I
have like
do
smoke
not
signals or something
I think
to
there
be
was like
like, we need
flares or
you?
something. I think there were flares or something, but I did not remember.
But
All I remember
honestly,
is Joe's kids being really creepy. We had the big dumb idiot,
yeah,
and he looked good though. He looked like a good big dumb idiot. He was a himbo for sure. And the smaller, like clearly there are birth defects going on in this world. Like there are all kinds of crazy stuff going on that we cannot hit upon every crazy nuclear post-apocalyptic thing happening. But it was so crazy how quickly Immortan Joe went from, oh, she's changing course to, oh my God, my wives are gone. Like he knew almost instantaneously, which is
yeah,
crazy if he trusted this girl this much.
yeah. And the fact that he was leaving his, uh, I think they called it a citadel, but they like completely left it open for anyone to take. Why would his Why wouldn't Gastown just, I don't know, turn around and be like, well, this is mine now. Sucks for you. It seemed like a good opportunity for a lot of people just to come
The
in.
the Australian performer Iota, I capital O capital T capital A, one word, played the trans-like coma doof warrior. His title credit, Iota, The Doof Warrior.
The two for
I am not even joking. You could give me a whole movie for Iota the Doof Warrior. I will watch it.
just create
You,
like a concert experience of him just jamming out while there's car chases
it
going
is
on.
it is amazing because he's just straight up shredding. Even at like we're not going to touch on this him probably a lot more, but like in one scene while he's sleeping, he's still hooked in, sleeping like this with the guitar.
Yeah, no, they like I said, they had him strapped in good and
It was
like
amazing. I
yeah,
was a huge fan. But yeah, we're on this chase.
yeah.
It's a long chase sequence.
It is. Yeah, it goes on for quite a while.
And this is we're not talking about obviously the whole movie is this chase sequence.
Yeah, yeah,
However,
yeah.
the first initial chase sequence leading to them going into
The sandstorm.
like a geomagnetic sandstorm. Like there was like
Yeah, like
all kinds of.
I don't think it like it looks like it just stays there like
It was
at all
really
times.
interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much how Furiosa tries to lose everybody is by going into the sandstorm with the rig. And
And
Nux,
Max has done nothing at this point. Max is basically holding on for dear life.
yes, he is chained in there trying to figure out one, he's very concerned about his car. He does not want anything to happen to his car because
His
his
car's
car, yeah, I
it's
was like,
totally fucked. There's
yeah,
no saving this car.
yeah,
Please don't
no.
eat your brother's face.
But he does try to escape. Canucks decides that he wants to go into the sandstorm. And I do have to shout out Max, like the attention to detail in this film. The Max loses his shoe right before they go into the sandstorm. Like one of the war boys takes it off, like takes off his shoe when he's trying to escape from Nux and everyone. And they go into the sandstorm.
I believe they find the shoe though, which is
Well, no, no,
hilarious.
no. Well, okay, no, the shoe has a whole story of its own. So pretty much,
Yeah.
they go into the sandstorm and we see and I'll bring up the shoe more, but we go into the sandstorm. Max doesn't have his right or left shoe, whichever foot.
I'm not saying that
And
Kathleen has a foot fetish, guys. I'm not saying she's into shoes, but if anyone wants to make fan art, I am willing to print it out, frame it, and ship it to her because I think that's hilarious.
no,
I'm going to
no,
keep this as a running
no.
gag.
If
I'm
someone wants to
going
send me shoes,
don't send her shoes.
send me shoes. I love shoes, not feet, but shoes are great. So I need the thing to cover the foot.
Yeah, but but you're right. He loses the shoe in this survival sequence, I'll call it.
Yeah. And then Nux,
And then
this is where Nux like I think this is his first attempt to go to Valhalla and he attempts to blow up the rig.
yeah,
But
he's trying to take it all out, and
yeah, and
this is
Nux,
before Amortan Joe's like, "Don't shoot at my wives." Like Nux apparently just didn't hear that the first time, but he was like, "What if I just blow it all up?"
oh yeah, that's right. He was like,
Like
let me
Amortan
just
Joe told everyone else, and Nux was like, "We're going to Valhalla today. We're going to
yep.
Valhalla right now." He sprays himself, looking disgusting with those silver teeth. But
Yeah.
like, I think when they do it, you can see their eyes like widen. So I'm assuming it's some sort of nitrous or something like that
Yeah,
because they're all into cars and such like that. You're
that
fine,
makes
buddy.
sense.
So it was amazing because they're chained. So he's hooked
Yeah.
by the actual blood, but he's also like literally chained, both
Yeah.
his with a mouth guard and like a chain across his neck
Yeah.
without with one shoe, shoeless. Really, this man is. I don't know what a good one shoe is. And we go into this storm, and the rest of the and they lose him somehow.
Oh, yeah. No, which is odd
Because everyone else goes in the storm as well.
yeah, and everyone loses Furiosa except for Nux. And you're like kind of like, well, that's nice for a plot, but everyone
I
else
thought
gets
he was
stuck in the
dead.
sandstorm.
I thought Nux was dead when we like next catch up with Max after this storm because he's trying to break this chain and he can't, of course.
Yeah.
So he has to basically like what's it called, sandbag carry Nux the whole way.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And he
then,
gets to Furiosa, and that's where we see all of these ladies for the first time.
well, okay. So when Nux is passed out, Max steals his shoe and puts it on. So Max now has shoes, but Nux is has one last shoe
We're just stealing
for,
people's shoes. This
yeah.
world, if we
I
start
mean, would
stealing
you
one shoe
not?
from people, when we start stealing one shoe from people, that's when we've really lost all our
Yeah,
shit.
society's just over.
It's
Gotta
over.
steal
It's
them both.
just a wasteland at that point, literally.
And this is where so I just want to point out, okay, so this is where Max finds Furious and we have our first encounter with the two of them. But I just want to point out the name of Joe's wives.
Hit me with them. Hit me
Oh,
with
are
them.
you ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
We have Toast,
Yup.
Capable,
Yup.
the Dag,
Okay.
Cheeto, spelled with a D.
Cheeto. Got it.
Yep, yep. And then our pregnant wife was I'm probably gonna butcher this one. Angharad.
Enghadra. I think. Angharad.
Yes.
Okay. Enghadra. I also have just found these names. And they not only have names, but they have epitaphs.
Okay.
Toast the knowing,
Oh
the
no.
splendid Akadra, Cheeto the fragile. The Dag incapable do not have epitaphs.
I kind of love Cheeto the Fragile because you think about Cheetos and they can break so easily.
I mean, if I remember correctly, Cheeto the fragile was the one that at literally the first sign of trouble was like, I'll just go back. We had it good. You were
Mm,
sleeping with like what would seem like a crazy mutated 90-year-old. I have no
this is
idea
true.
how old Immortan Joe was, but it was crazy. And what's even funnier is, do you know who played Toast the Knowing? Zoe Kravitz was
Yeah,
Toast.
I didn't know that until I didn't even recognize her. I did not
This is from
realize
years ago. Yeah,
I know, but still, I was like, I saw her name on the cast list. I was like, wait a second, I don't remember her in this movie at all. So
she
yeah,
she was probably one of the wives with the most lines.
yeah,
Like she had a very distinct character type, which was cool.
yeah, yeah. I do like, yeah, I like that they gave them all different personalities. They weren't just like cowering women who were completely defenseless. So I do like that they did that. They made all the women in this movie very strong.
They
And
were much more interesting as characters. Like they had a lot more depth than a lot of these characters.
yeah, yeah, I agree. So then now we get to see like Max and Furiosa meet, and obviously Max is trying to steal the rig, or
Yeah, he just wants to leave.
yeah, he wants to leave and he wants to be unchained. He tries to get one of the wives to cut the chain with the
Bolt cutter, Ed. Yeah.
bolt cutter, yeah. And he's using what we learned to be an unloaded gun to get them to do that. And I'm assuming she's pretending to be too weak to get it. I could be wrong.
These girls did not have muscle on them. They
True.
very much were. And let me be clear. I do not want to use the word pampered because they were not pampered by any means. Their little room they had, it was a big size, but there was what, 5 of them in
Yeah.
this basically prison. It was a prison cell. They were in a vault, literally, like Fallout. And so it's you can understand why they wanted to escape before you even realized there was that. Like you didn't even see him at first. You just knew that she stole the wives, and you're like,
Yeah.
good for them. They should run.
Yeah. But also,
But props
what
to
are they
Max for
running to? Um,
the green place. They're running to the green place, a land of magic and greenery,
mhm.
which at this point in the movie, the color green has not been seen.
No, not at all. Does not
We have
exist.
not seen basically the color green. We've seen
Mhm.
blue, we've seen brown, we've seen grays, and we've seen red because of the blood.
Yeah. I was gonna
Like,
say, without like plant life, it's very hard to get color because you
mm-hmm.
need the pigments from plant life to make colors. So,
But this film at no point seemed colorless because they
yeah,
used like the metals and like the reds of fire and stuff. Like the production team did so good.
Oh, they
Like
did amazing.
the scene work, every scene is breathtaking, and the action sequences, like, don't get me wrong, they're over the top, but
Yeah,
they work. Like, it's not like Fast and Furious action sequences.
yeah,
Like Mad Max, like they had the chase, and at no point was I like, oh my god, I'm so tired of this chase.
yeah. No, I agree. As I've said before, I'm like I'm not huge into action, but this I was very much like I said, like I felt like I could see the story unfolding through the action itself because it was a nonstop car chase. Essentially, was this movie.
The storytelling was very well done. And
Yeah,
like you said, they
it's
showed
great.
it. At one point, Max is just grunting like, oh, oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Mm.
not a man of many words. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. But eventually, I say eventually, it's in the span of like 6 minutes. Like they're in the rig together.
Yeah, yeah. So Max and Furiosa have pretty much a battle. The girls try to help Furiosa, and then Nux wakes up and tries to help Max, which is very interesting because like he's like, oh,
Still
you're
calling him blood bag.
yeah, but he's just like, you're mine. Like, so you work with me. Like we're the guys, they're the
It's
girls. Like I'm like,
amazing.
what is your thinking here? Like you're holding him captive and you think he's gonna help you or you should help him. But I mean, probably the smartest thing he could have done though. Like for someone who's not very bright, like that's how you stay alive. You help the people that are around you.
I don't think Nux thought that far ahead.
No,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
be
think he
honest here.
did. I'm just
The
saying it was a good call. Not saying
he
he
did a
did it.
smart thing. Was
Yeah.
this when Nux helps get the rig moving again?
This is when he like him and Fury or Max and Furiosa are like hand-to-hand combat. And
Got it.
then
Yep. Okay.
Furiosa gets a gun. Max drops the clip. Nux grabs the clip, and so that Max can put
Yep.
it back in. And yeah,
There's a lot of like Max Nux moments that you don't expect
yeah,
because once again he was a blood bag.
yeah.
But
But
we very quickly we all realized like hold Nux, basically the lead Nux at this point. Like
yeah,
Nux gets picked up again in a little bit, but Max is on the road with these guys.
well, Max takes
Rhodes
the
is
rig first.
he does. He steals the
And
rig for a second, but he doesn't get far.
no, it did. It died really quickly. And then they're like, there's a fail safe and only I know it. Yeah. And they're like, you have to take us with you. Or you have to, yeah, I guess you have to take us with you.
Yeah,
It's kind of,
we're in this together, bitch.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
It's either all of us or none of us.
Yeah,
Which honestly, good job, Furiosa. She like he drove off and she was like, "We got this,"
yeah, no, I
and they
agree.
did. Like she did have this.
Yeah.
Like she even and after they started moving, you see like she even has like a freaking blade, like hidden in the stick. The
Oh, and the joystick.
oh my
What is it
god, gear
called?
shift in the gear shift.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't have a car, you do.
It's a gear shift. I straight up almost called it a Prindle from freaking Sweet Life of Zack and
Oh my
Cody.
gosh. Well, I mean, that still
I'm
would have
so
been better.
sorry.
I called it a joystick.
I have driven stick shift. I was thinking of it in an Indian term. I'm playing the Indian card. Yes, I don't want to look like an idiot. I was thinking of what is this called? It's the gear shift. It's the gear shift, guys. And it's very interesting because all of these cars, we have not a single one of these cars has been driving on the road. We have been driving a semi truck on sand.
Yep. But they don't need
What are you trying to say? You're not
on
even
the
sign language here.
on the tires, on the
Chains on the
wheels.
tires?
Yes. Yep. They
That's
don't
for
need
snow, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that
can
works on
you do it
sand.
on sand?
I have no
Apparently it
idea. I'm
doesn't.
not a
Well,
mechanic.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember. At the no, we don't do chains on sands at the beach. We
Do you mean
do
treads? Like the
yeah, I guess
like tank treads?
they would probably need like well, I was thinking chains, but they probably need like bigger like you need different tires for off-roading.
Hmm.
I'm
I
just
have no idea who makes tires or what happens if the tires break, but they're going. They're moving.
yeah. I just imagine it would be very hard. It would especially like the back of the rig would go all over the place, especially in sand.
They were straight as an arrow this whole movie for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that big rig has like 3,000 gallons of gasoline in it or some nonsense they said.
Yeah, they had both gas and water
Yeah.
on that.
So
Yeah.
gasoline and aqua cola.
Aqua Cola.
Definitely
My bad.
gasoline
I'm
and
sorry. I'm
aqua cola.
sorry. Aqua Cola. Yes, of course.
But they were also using the aqua cola, like the girls were like cleaning themselves with it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, we need that to be alive. What are you
You
doing right now?
you know what? I was completely like in the beginning of the movie when we see like Immortan Joe and he like opens up the waterfall of water for the people down below. I was kind of like, that's kind of wasteful. Like, why don't you get like a spout so you can have a directed amount of water and know how much you're getting rid of? Because when you just do it down like a waterfall, there's gonna be so much wasted water. Like, especially if it's a desert, it's gonna dry up so quickly from the ground. What like
It's
it's
a
a
cult
waste
leader thing.
it's a
He's
waste of
to show
resources.
that he has unlimited water.
But he doesn't. That stuff runs
He
out.
doesn't.
Look at our like not to get like political again, but like look at our springs. They're going
Oh,
lower and lower.
this movie was totally like a thing for like climate change and such like that. Like, 100%
Yeah.
is.
Well, yeah, but they, yeah.
No, let's
Uh,
keep it on with the car chase.
yeah, right. Nux does end up, I think he was like passed out. He's detached from Max now, and
He gets picked
he
up by the rest of the war boys.
not no, not yet. He actually ends up jumping on the rig. And he tries to, sorry,
Oh yeah, he's like hiding in the back of the rig or something like this at that point.
I might be getting
Um,
this confused. I might getting this because he does hide in the back, but then
he hides in the back twice.
yeah, okay. Because he does try to attack Furiosa, fails, falls out of the rig, and then Joe picks him up, I believe.
Yeah, but that's at the when they catch back up. They catch back up. The
Yeah,
posse does. What do they
yeah.
call it? Like war gang, war bond, like
The
the
War
posse.
Boys? Oh, the Joe and his allies. I don't know.
Joe and his allies show up.
Yeah,
Um, Nux tries to do something, fails, gets picked up by Immortan Joe. He's on Immortan Joe's
yeah.
basically rig. And he's like, I can do it. I'll go to Valhalla. And like Joe like says some cult leader bullshit to him.
Oh,
Literally goes like, Valhalla will be waiting. I will open the gates for you myself,
yeah.
or some nonsense.
This
And Nux jumps and his stuff, and like he basically misses. He like jumps, gets onto the rig, and doesn't
trips.
actually
He
drops the
trips
thing.
and
He like
falls up.
he like can't he didn't do it, and Joe just goes, oh, another idiot, and goes
No,
away. And
he
Nux is
calls him
embarrassed.
mediocre.
Oh, mediocre.
He just
Oh
says
my god, even
mediocre.
worse. Even worse. Like you're just mid, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
and
pretty much.
and and literally like Nux is embarrassed. And that's when he's hidden again.
Oh my gosh,
Um
yeah. That happened when they were trying to go through the canyons. Furiosa had like a deal with someone to pass through.
yeah, I deal with
And
another crazy person gang.
yeah, and then obviously that does not work out. And
They're still moving though. They're still moving, and they do close part of the canyon behind them.
yeah, they like knock
And
it down. Yeah.
and so they have a little bit of leeway now.
Yeah.
Nux at this point is hidden at the top, and one of the girls, I forget if it was the Dag, finds
Oh,
him, or
oh,
Capable.
it's capable, finds him. She finds him crying in the back of the rig because of his failures. And he pretty much
He's like,
says that he can't go
he
back.
saw
Yeah.
me, he saw me messed up, he saw me trip. Like, and Nux, by all means, is probably like an 18, 20-year-old in this world, I'm
Yeah.
assuming. But like, he's got the
He's got
emotional
some daddy
intelligence of a
issues.
6-year-old. They all have some daddy issues. They all have daddy issues in this movie. Like that's the whole point. And so, but by the time this happens, Joe's allies are even like, we've wasted so much gasoline. People have died. We've
Mhm.
wasted so many bullets. They're counting the bullets. It's amazing. And like Joe's like, we're going to get these ladies. And he basically goes alone, just him and his immediate crew in like one vehicle because they've got like the monster truck that can like go over the rocks, and like everyone else has to like dig through the rocks.
Yeah.
So
Um,
we've got some leeway, and what I assume is like we're about to get some character development. What did you think was going to happen while we had this leeway away from Joe and the chase?
well, I don't know if you're jumping ahead, but like while they were in or while they were escaping the canyon and Joe was
Yeah,
like
that's
in
what.
in that separate vehicle,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Joe was there. I literally just
Yeah.
watched this scene yesterday.
Yeah. Because he like climbs over it, but it's just him and his like son and like a few
Yeah,
people.
it's only a couple people, and then a few things happen to Max. Like Max gets like a freaking giant thing in his hand, and his hand is stuck to the car. And Joe's about to shoot Max, but then his wife, the name I
And
cannot say,
Kadra. And Kadra.
En Kadra,
Angarada?
En Harad, Angharad.
Rosie Huntington
Our
Whitley.
pregnant wife, played
Yeah.
by
By Rosie Huntington
yes,
Whitley.
yes. She
It
puts
does
herself,
something amazing. Like
yeah,
she like saves him.
yeah, she puts herself in between her and Joe,
Yeah,
and
she's like holding
Joe's
onto
not
like
gonna
the
shoot
car
him.
door, right? Is
Yeah,
that she's holding onto
yeah,
the car
and then
door and she like
the other
pulls him
wives are
in?
holding her. Yeah, and
And
then
Joe and Max has this moment of like he thought
yeah,
he thinks she gets hurt, but she's right there, and he goes,
yeah,
and you see a smile. You see like the first smile we see from Max this whole movie.
yeah, and you're kind of like, oh, are they having a moment? Maybe something
Like,
will happen here, and
whoa,
then
whoa, whoa,
and
whoa, whoa.
then
That's not at all what I
that's
thought. I
not
was
what
like,
you
oh
got.
man.
That's the
No,
vibes
it
I
was a
got.
romance moment. I thought it was like more of like him being like, oh, like he had a daughter. Like we knew that from the beginning of the movie. Maybe he's like, oh, I can,
That
like,
was a
look at
daughter.
this.
I don't know that
Huh?
that was a daughter.
In the beginning of the movie, we see a little
Yeah,
girl like saying stuff
yeah, but that doesn't mean it was
in
a
Max's head.
daughter.
I'm just assuming. That's what I assumed.
Oh, I thought it was like just some girl that he like, I mean, not like some girl, but like a young girl that he used to like, kind of like The Last of Us, like just felt like he owed himself to her. And then obviously
Okay,
things
like
didn't
how
work out.
often
I
does
don't
that
know.
happen? Like I just
A
assumed it's a
lot.
daughter.
The
I,
Last of
I
Us is
what came afterwards?
post-apocalyptic.
It was like, what do you mean? Like I assumed it was
Don't
just his
know.
daughter. But like I didn't think it was like a romance moment. I thought he was just like finally getting human connection
Ugh,
in
I don't know.
any way.
In my brain, though, I immediately was just like, oh, this is kind of cute. Maybe something will happen here. That was just
And
my
then what
brain.
happened? And then what happened 30 seconds after
And
that?
then Joe was just like, look out, essentially. And she almost gets maimed by a rock, but we see that she ended up hiding behind, like she was able to hide behind the rig and not get hit
Yeah,
by the
and that's
rock.
what and then right after that, Max is like, okay, she's good. And we get
Yeah. And then she
this
slips.
beautiful Tom Hardy smile. And then was there a slow-mo? I forget if there was a slow-mo.
I think it was, no, it wasn't a slow-mo. It wasn't a slow-mo.
Okay, but what
Yeah.
happens? Please tell the class, Kathleen, what happens to the splendid Ankarad?
Oh, she slips off, right?
Mhm.
And then she gets ran over by
By
Joe.
Joe.
Which obviously Joe was very upset. I think like later that night, like he was with all his people, and they do try to save the unborn child. I thought that was kind of nice that
He did
they
not care at
attempted.
all about her. Like,
No.
what he was like, is the child safe? And I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
But it's like, care a little bit, bro. Like, I
Yeah.
understand. Like, I understand he just viewed them as breeders and as a way for him to get his
Yeah.
basically get his rocks off. But it's like, damn, dude. Like, and
Yeah.
the child did not make it.
No, his child did not make it, and
They were ran over by
it
a
didn't
monster truck.
it didn't help that it was a boy. I think they said it was a boy who was
Perfect in every way.
perfect in every way. Yeah. So if they are concerned about like mutations and stuff like that, would yeah, that would be pretty infuriating.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Joe was howling.
Yeah. And they got his big stocky son upset about it. Like he was the one who shouted, like, he was a
Rictus.
perfect boy. Yeah.
Rictus Erectus was his son's name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that wonderful
Nathan
name.
Nathan Jones did such a good job with that character. He was every scene he spoke in was hilarious. I don't think it was meant to be. Like in the sense of the world, he was a normal
Yeah.
person, normal war boy. But it was hilarious.
Yeah.
However, as soon as she died, like as soon as that happened, you kind of got the notion that
Yeah.
anyone's free game to die. Because like leading up to it, you're like, oh, they're gonna make it, and then that happens, and you're like, oh, it's one of these movies,
Yeah.
because that really kicked off the last what, at the last 45, 50 minutes? Like, because that was like into the movie, right?
Honestly, I don't remember. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I
was
don't
probably
remember
like
the time.
halfway. Yeah.
Because like after that, like obviously Joe and his posse stop for a sec. He sends a few people to chase closer to him, and then that's when the rig gets stuck in like mud or something like that. And
Hmm.
when one of the girls is like, "We should go back. Angrada's dead." Like blah blah all this. It was one of those like moments that Stockholm syndrome moments, which you kind of expect in like escape movies, kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with you there with the Stockholm syndrome. I didn't even think about that, but I mean, you're going from a safe environment to something unknown. You're hoping it's better, but you don't know for sure, and you're kind
They're
of like, I
literally Furiosa literally fed these girls a fairy tale of the green place because
yeah,
she remembers being in the green place, and we
yeah,
get to and right before we get there, we get Nux helping fix the rig and getting it out by wrapping around a tree. The first tree we see is a dead tree that they
yeah,
use for leverage.
yeah. Which that again, you're just like great for pushing the story forward. A tree just randomly right where they need it to be,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
just within the right amount of distance as well. If it hadn't been for Nux, they definitely would have been stuck there, or they would have been walking on foot. But because we do see that the bullet farmers are like coming up on them. Like they had put out a few landmines, and were able to like slow like Joe and his some of his allies, but the bullet farmers were still making progress. And Max is just kind of like, all right, I'll take
Oh
care of
yeah,
this. And this,
terrible shot.
I'm actually very upset because I feel like this would have been the scene that would have showed us who Mad Max is, like how mad this man actually is. Because he just returns. He returns with a boot for Nux, and he also returns just with like tons of ammunition and all this other stuff. And you're kind of like, you just went out there and did that by yourself. Like you were kind of struggling with all these other people with
He was a
Furiosa, but
terrible shot at long range as well. Like we saw him try and shoot, and
yeah.
we needed Furiosa to do that, and then he's like, "I got this," and walked away.
And then he just takes them all out. He just does it by
We don't
himself. And
we
I'm
don't
like,
hear gunfire or anything.
no, I'm kind of like, this is the scene I wanted to see. This is what Mad Max is, and we didn't get to see it.
It was really interesting because like it was clearly going to be a fight scene not in moving vehicles,
Yeah,
but the whole movie has been fight scenes on moving vehicles. So maybe that's
yeah.
why. I really don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
agree with you though.
Maybe they wanted to save the mystery of how crazy Max can be, but they were also probably trying to like it's not a bloody movie. So it
No,
like
honestly, yeah.
I think it was one of
Interestingly,
those scenes that if they had to show it, it probably would be a bloody scene. It would be a scene full of death. And they're probably like, well, if we include a scene like that, that's going to completely change everyone's thoughts about Max. And it's going to, well, probably change the rating of the movie. I don't know. Was it
what's
rated
really
R or PG-13?
it was rated R already.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then bring on the blood. I don't know.
But like right after this scene, we go through one of the creepiest areas in the movie. That like black swamp thing with like the random, I'm assuming people on stilts.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
It was very creepy, but it was like really cool because you were like, oh, we have color. It's just black. It's
Yeah.
black, black with gray and more black. And it was like freaking medieval doctor mask people on stilts and like scarecrows. It
Yeah.
was creepy.
It was
And
very creepy.
but like they passed through it and then we're back in sand and desert.
It's kind of weird because that's a different environment. You think they'd be questioning why that's here. Kind of reminds me of like Land Before Time a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, like the
It was
tar
real.
pits.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, tar pits is a great way to put it. But like,
Yeah.
there were not. I don't think I remember trees, and if I do remember trees, they were not living trees. There was no
Yeah.
green.
I
But
don't
then we
think.
get back to sand,
Yes.
and Furiosa's like, I kind of remember this. I'm like, you kind of remember more sand? You
Right.
remember
Well,
sand?
she does see like the tower thing or whatever, and she's like, "This seems right." And so they go towards it. And there's a naked woman screaming for help, and
Also, a in more importantly, an in shape naked woman. Like,
Yeah.
and Furiosa's like, or I forget if it's Furiosa or Max. That's like that's bait.
Yeah. Oh no,
And
it
I'm
was
like,
Max. Max was like, "This
yeah.
is bait," and Furious was like, "No, this is it. These are my
And like
people."
she says, I'm whatever her I don't remember
Her
her
title.
actual name and such like
Yeah.
yeah, she says it and they're like, oh, and like the bait starts being the bait. The lady in the cage starts, gets everyone out and we
Yeah.
get the Valkyrie and the Volvani and the Keeper of the Seeds, like the ladies, quite a lot older, like older ladies like that have
Hmm.
survived in the wasteland, just ladies, and you're like, oh, this is the moment, and they're like, okay, like we can go to the green place, and they're like, oh, you already passed the green place,
Yeah.
and you're like, what?
Hmm.
And then that creepy area was the green place. Like it's gone to hell, literally.
Yeah.
Hell in a
It is
handbasket.
a
And
complete uninhabitable wasteland. Yeah.
Furiosa is literally just like, I, and she's broken. Like she's just
Yeah.
broken.
I
And
mean, like
she
you
she
work.
literally walks away from everyone and just
Yeah.
starts what crying and screaming.
I mean, I would too, because I mean, if you like imagine it, like you're a kid, you're a child, you're taken away from like this
Mm-hmm.
safe haven, wonderful place, and then you're forced to have to survive in a barren wasteland and like a horrible environment around men and everything. And you're like, I'm gonna make my way back. I'm going to get to this place again. And you get there, and it's worse than before. Like it's kind of
It's
like
worse than before.
you can't even like re-achieve that feeling of like what was there. Like, and you have all these hopes you've been holding on. That's been her only hope, the only thing probably driving her all these years, and it's just gone.
Absolutely gone. And
Yeah.
then she's like, Max, you can take this bike, you can go that way. And so he does. And he's like, and they're like, we're just gonna
Yeah.
try to figure out what to do because they just have to
Well,
keep running from Joe.
yeah, well, they decided that there's like a whole salt flat. And like I don't think anyone's ever successfully crossed it, or at least if they have, they haven't made it back. They say it takes days to cross. There's no food or water or anything along the way. And
They
they're like,
said it takes like 60 something days, some crazy amount of time.
yeah. And they're like, we're gonna do it because like there's nothing
Well,
for us in the
what
other
else we
one.
got? What else we got? The
Yeah,
option is
pretty much.
salt flats or Joe.
Yeah. So and yeah, and I don't think we mentioned it. There's only 7 remaining members from like the clan that she grew up with in the Green Place. So like there's not even like a lot of women.
It's there's no
But they
army.
just yeah. And they're joining Furiosa and the wives as well to cross the Salt Flat just to look for something better.
Hmm.
And yeah, like you said, Max takes this random bike, but like
They give it to him. They're like, you
yeah,
did you did your thing. And
yeah,
so Max
he
goes
leaves.
in a random direction for like
Yeah,
what, like a couple miles, and then he's like, "Fuck, dude!" He's literally like, he like starts thinking of everything, and he starts driving back.
yeah.
He goes back, and he's like, "We have another option," and you're like,
Well,
"Oh shit, the plan."
when he was driving back, this kind of like that person that he failed to save, the child that you assumed was his daughter. He
Why
actually
wouldn't
had
I
to.
assume it's
No, I thought it was just like some Last of Us shit. I don't know. But like he has a vision of the child that he like, failed to save. I don't know. Maybe that's in one of the first 3 movies that I haven't seen. Because of that, he's like, oh, I have to save them. Like they're gonna die out there. And his conscience is literally not letting him leave them there. So yeah, like you said, like he decides to go back and
He goes back, and also Nux was gonna cross the Sun Flats. That was
oh
also your
yeah,
line.
yeah,
Nux,
he's got 2 shoes now, so he's good.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So, but Max comes back. He's like, "We got a third option. We
yeah.
can go here. We go back to Joe. We take it."
Yeah, take it back. It's like no one's there. No one's defending it. Everyone's chasing us. So let's just,
Also, they killed
go for it.
so many of the people.
Yeah.
And so all of these people, including like the Volvani, which are the people that Furiosa grew up, was born with and such, the
Yeah.
7 of them, they're like, let's do it. And
Yeah.
you're like, all right, we got the elite squad. Also,
Yeah.
the elite squad consists of 4 girls, breeders that were stuck in a vault, 7 old ladies, one of which is like middle aged, Nux, Furiosa, and Max. And
Yep.
that's it.
Yep.
That's That's the squad.
I do wish that when like Max had met Furiosa's like I forget what you called them, but like
The Volvani, I
the
think was their name.
Volvani, like I wish that when he had met them, like there had been like an action sequence, like they tried to take him down because he was a man or something. I don't know, something along those lines would have been cool to like really show how strong they are. Because they do end up like when they do go back and they start fighting like Joe and his army and everything, like they're strong. They like are ready to fight, and it would have been cool to see them fight Max when they officially meet him or
We're not going to be
initially
able
meet
to
them.
we're not going to be able to talk about every action sequence that happens from here on in, but basically they
Yeah.
start going back.
Yeah.
They start being chased again by Joe and them, and now Joe and them realize they're going back. So they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, we can't let that happen." And I'd say the big sequence that we see the Vavani doing great. They're doing great,
Yeah. Until they're
and
not.
we see two of them like fall off their bike after they've killed some people, done some stuff, and Joe is the guy that runs both of them over. We literally get a shot of one of the girls going like this, getting ran over, and we're just like, "Well, they're dead."
Yeah.
We have a great moment between the keeper of the seeds lady and I think it's the dad who she shows like the seeds everything.
Yeah.
And she does great too until she's also stabbed and like bleeds out. Like we see Furiosa get hurt.
Yeah.
Like Furiosa's doing good. We see all of these things. Eventually, we see Immortan Joe coming after them and all kinds of stuff.
Honestly, sorry, my brain is going to your favorite character right now because I remember him being a very big part in this battle because he was like swinging at people
The Doof Warrior, like
while playing the
he was like
guitar.
woo, he was doing that.
Yeah.
He also dies,
Well,
unfortunately.
yeah, because like I do remember like the rig crashing and like him just swinging forward and back. Oh, yeah.
It was
Um,
like Max is like jumping around different places. Like Max
yeah.
is going mad, and it's really crazy to see because you see Rictus Erectus. He's getting onto the thing. Eventually, you see the big moment is when Cheeto the Fragile, you think is going back to Joe. Like she's like Rictus, take me over there, and then she gets over there,
Hmm.
plants basically what is a bomb, like jumps back, like the freaking monster truck is starting to like mess up, and then
Yeah.
Furiosa basically grabs Joe's helmet, puts it onto a thing, and his face gets ripped off, like full face just off, and
Yeah.
that's it. Like there's no like the build up to Joe dying was instantaneous to
Yeah.
show that like even with him being this towering figure, like in this world, everyone's lives are like that in this world.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he was ever physically that strong though. Like looking at him, he just always had he
He
had
was
an
struggling.
army. He had an army. Like he himself, it was just the fact that they were able to break down his army. And the moment that they were able to get to him, it just showed how weak he was. And he just, knew what to do, knew what to say to get to the point that he got into.
And then,
He
but
never
like
had any power. Yeah.
it's amazing because like he dies, but like the army's still doing its job. Like at the end of the day, they're like he's in Valhalla. We're gonna keep
Yeah.
doing the thing. And
Yeah.
so Rictus is going for the semi cabin, and all of them are getting into Joe's monster truck and trying to get out. And
Yeah.
then Nux is like, "Hey, I'm gonna steer the rig, and then I'm gonna come with you, and blah blah." And as all this happens, we're back at the canyon where they had caused it to be broken. It's open again.
Yeah.
So all this is happening, and Nux realizes he's not gonna make it. Like he's not gonna like it's either they make it or nobody makes it.
Yeah.
And so they are going, and Nux literally does the whole witness me, but instead of like this loud proclamation of everything, he's just like, witness me. And then flips this thing,
Yeah.
blows blows up the canyon to like cause
Yep.
everything to
Block
crash
the
down,
road. Yeah.
murder everything around him. Rictus
Yes.
Erectus did not make it.
Yeah, no, he
Nobody made
died.
it. Nobody made it.
Yeah.
And then Max, the girls, none of the Volvani. none of the Vavalani or whatever, like none of them make it, if I remember correctly.
Which is kind of sad. It's like they were fine where they were.
So, but yeah, they make it back to Immortan Joe's place, the Citadel,
Yes. Well,
alone.
well, first, Furiosa, we don't know that Furiosa is going to make it. She's like mortally wounded.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Max, this scene, just sticks the tube in his arm, sticks one in Furiosa, and just tries to give her blood because
We like full
that will
circle
help her.
back to like him being a blood bag.
Yep, he's a blood bag again. And I'm just like, what about infection? Are you even the same blood type? But like, I guess now that you've mentioned that he was a universal donor, that's fine. But I'm just like, there's still so many things.
I think
Um,
infection's a better way to go in this world, man.
yeah,
Yeah, this world's not great. And
yeah,
then they show up and we have this moment where all the people are like, let them in, let them in, and like they're like Furiosa, and like the
yeah,
war boys open up the wall, and you're like, yeah, you have this moment where you're like, oh, dope, and then you see Furiosa looking down to the crowd, and who do you
yeah,
see but Max? Like all the crowds looking this way.
yeah.
Max looks back for a second, and he's the only one walking away, and you're just like, now what? Like Furiosa's kind of in charge of people, and she proved to be a good leader, even though every single person she led basically died except these people.
Yeah,
Like all of the many mothers are gone. The Volvani are dead. Mortan Joe's dead. The Bullet
yeah.
Farmer is dead. The People Eater is dead. Rictus
Several of
Erectus
the
is dead.
yeah, several of the wives.
I think only one of the wives died.
No, well, because no, the pregnant wife died, and then I think
I think that's it.
I thought one
I'm
more.
no. Cheeto the Fragile pretended to go on to Joe and like set it like backstabbed him, but that's
Okay,
about it. I don't think she died. I think all the other wives I think lived.
okay.
Because I remember the Dag survives because she got all the seeds. Zoe Kravitz was like the proactive one, so she was alive. Um, Cheeto did her job. Am I missing someone? Was there only four wives?
Well, there were five total.
One, two, three, four. So yeah, Capable, the Dag, Cheeto, and Toast I think survive, and the Splettinic Angarada died. But like this movie ends with like music theme and Max walking away and Furiosa. There was no thank you. Furiosa was just like, okay. And like as if like this is who Max is, but it's like also like movie was absolutely breathtaking. It told a really good story in the
Yeah.
way it did. However, it's also like there was never a point you felt connected with the main character Max because
No,
he didn't feel like the main character.
he really didn't. I mean, he was more of just there, like he was a support character, just this quiet force that was there. And I don't know if that's how he is in the other movies, but he one didn't seem very mad to me. Just
I
didn't
think the
like,
whole world was mad.
yeah, but I mean, his name is Mad Max. Like, you don't get a name Mad Max in a world like that unless you are like really out there.
And
So
nobody
what?
here knew who he was.
No, he
He
was
was
just
just
there.
Max.
Yeah. So
He
I'm
didn't even say his name was Max until later in the movie.
in one of those one-liners that he gave, probably.
It was it was very interesting because watching the movie, I enjoyed the whole movie. I really did. I enjoyed the whole movie.
Yeah.
However, there was never really any explanation as to what caused the world to be like this. There was never an explanation for many things, and they weren't totally necessary. Like you don't
Yeah.
need
I
this
don't,
back in the story being told.
yeah.
You were given all the information you
You
needed for
needed,
the
yeah.
story being told. And so I think it was a very well written movie. I think it was very well done. Now that you told me like they won Oscars for like production and stuff like that, absolutely.
Yeah.
They did amazing with it.
Yeah. They did. I thought just visually it's stunning the way that they edited everything together, the shots that they captured, it's just beautiful. But
The Furiosa prequel makes sense. Like
yeah.
there's a story to be told there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see if it follows more or less what was said in the movie, but it makes sense. But
Yeah.
like the sequel, like Mad Max,
Yeah.
it seems like there isn't supposed to be a thread connecting them besides this is the world it's taking place in. here's Max. Stuff
Yeah.
is happening around Max.
I mean, Mad Max Fury Road honestly felt like Furiosa was the main character.
Max was not an integral part of this movie besides the ending climax where he's like, we should go back. Like
Yeah.
the I'm not saying everything would have happened the same way if he wasn't there,
Yeah.
but like a lot of it would have. Like he was not integral to
Yeah.
he was integral to Furiosa's story, but his own story didn't really happen.
Yeah. There was nothing that impacted his life, and he didn't really, I mean, I guess him coming up with, like you said, him coming up with the idea for them to take over the Citadel, but other than that, it's just kind of like he was just there. He was along for the ride. This was just another day in his life kind of thing, is what it felt like. It's like, oh, I woke up today, ate a two-headed lizard, met this girl Furiosa, and we took over the Citadel, and now we're gonna see
They
what's
also
next.
didn't
Like,
eat for a couple days.
they didn't eat, they didn't go to the bathroom, they didn't drink water. Like, it's fine.
It
Yeah.
was a lot of things. A lot of things were interesting. However, it's very interesting to me, like that this movie, right now, a lot of movies either try to do a lot of exposition. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
this is like bigger than like what the small some of our parts. It's like oh, like the power of friendship, whatever. Like
Yeah.
this movie very much was like everybody's getting shot, everyone's getting blown up, everyone's dying.
I like that they didn't give tons of backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had done like a voiceover, like, oh, this world's been like this for this many years,
Yeah,
and I don't know any
I'm
different. I would have been a little like, okay, this didn't, it wasn't needed, it wasn't necessary.
yeah.
We could figure it out. Like, okay, something happened. The world went to shit. Everyone's stupid and in
Yeah.
constant battle. Like,
The movie audience
yeah,
is not stupid though. It's like if you watch this movie from
yeah,
start to finish, we have not seen the prequels.
yeah.
I don't think it's totally necessary for you to see the prequels to watch this movie and enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of times, especially nowadays, movies are just over explaining. I have that issue with like horror movies too. Like it'll be like a movie will come out and it'll be great, it'll be amazing. You're like, no one survived and we don't know how to defeat this monster. And that's what makes it scary. And then they come out with a sequel and they're like, here's a step-by-step guide about what this thing is, how to defeat it, and everyone's gonna live in this movie. And you're like,
It
well, now I'm not scared anymore. Like,
A
what was the
lot of
point of
it
this?
just
This
was
is terrible.
interesting. Yeah, a lot of it just
Yeah,
did not make sense.
yeah,
In like in that like a lot of movies like that don't make sense because it's like okay, like
like,
so
yeah, I
this
didn't
mad
need that.
this like Gandalf showed up and explained everything to us. That
Yes,
did not happen in this movie,
there's always a
which
wise
was
old
great.
woman that shows up in a horror movie, and yeah,
Cosmic guide to the universe, really. But
yeah,
it was like this movie was really good.
yeah.
Would would you buy this movie on DVD, Kathleen?
No. I actually like put in my notes. I was like, I thought this movie was great. I think it deserved all the awards that it got. Would I watch it again? Probably not.
I would stream this movie. If you have not seen this movie, it is a fun movie.
It is,
It is a
it is,
fun movie. I
yeah,
think
it's
if
worth
you
watching. It is
oh yeah,
definitely 100% worth watching. It's like amazing, but
I would say get some pizza, pop some popcorn,
yeah,
stream the movie. I don't think it's gonna be a DVD on my shelf.
yeah, yeah, agreed.
That's how I'm gonna rate movies from now on. I'm just gonna
That's
keep.
fine.
Is it a DVD? Would I buy it on DVD kind of thing?
Oh, that's like a hard thing. Like if it was 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, I mean, we had walls of DVDs and VHS tapes, and like if I buy a DVD, that means that it is like top tier, top 10 on my list of all movies.
This I think was a good movie to watch and
Yes.
talk about
Yes.
when Furiosa comes out. It'll be interesting to see it whenever we can
Yeah,
with our schedules go see
I'm
it.
I'm curious. I guess like I'm curious if they're gonna stick to what like George Miller and Charlize Theron had discussed, or if they're gonna completely go in a different direction, and how well it's gonna connect into, if they're gonna try to connect it to Mad Max Fury Road at all.
It's been almost a decade since Mad Max Fury Road came
Yeah.
out, and
And
now Furiosa is coming out.
one thing we didn't even mention was that she was paraplegic, like
Oh
some
yeah,
of
she
the
had a
yeah, yeah, she was missing an arm. So
robot arm.
yeah, so I think we're gonna find out what happens there too. So
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah,
yeah. So it's kind of like one of like what we were just talking about is like, is this going to be a necessary movie or is this just going to give us too much information that we didn't need? Like, so I think it'll be a good movie. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be good. But sometimes when they do prequels, they're like, here's everything that you didn't need to know about this character. And
Yeah, we're gonna
so,
see. Obviously, we've talked about Mad Max Fury Road now, so we
yeah,
will go watch Furiosa, and we'll
Furiosa.
see, and we'll talk about that at some
Yeah,
point when that happens.
yeah. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be good. And I think it'll be good to have like it to compare off of this.
I personally am
Yeah.
totally fine when different actors play the same character.
Yeah.
I've never been one to worry about that. All I do, and I
Yeah.
don't really like
That's
they're gonna play the character differently. I
yeah.
think my biggest thing is as long as the actor does well
Yeah. And
and can carry the role.
it's one of those things where acting is about portraying a character. It's not about being yourself on screen. It's not about like continuously doing the same things, but like it's like how well can we tell a story? And that's all I care about. Like this different people can play the same character and we can retell a story 12 times and it's going to be different every time. Like or there's going to be a different point of view or a different style. Like yeah. So I think it'll be great to see Anya Taylor-Joy take on this role, see how she portrays Furiosa, especially at a younger age. She's probably so much more energy and like especially growing up with around the guys, the war guy boys, war
War
boys.
Boys.
If she did grow
I'm
up around them.
curious
Yeah.
because all I know about this movie, because I'm not, people will probably get upset at me, but I don't really watch trailers.
I want to watch it.
That's I'll put it out there. I'm not a trailer guy, guys.
Well,
Come at
trailers
me.
ruin everything now. Nowadays, people are complaining because the trailers are giving away the entire movie, but
I
marketing
know it's
can't
not.
figure out
I
how
know
to
it's
get
not every
people into
trailer.
box office.
My little brother says like, no, it's not every trailer. I'm like, it really Terminator Genesis' trailer is like the big reason that I think a lot of people don't watch trailers because that did just spoil like the whole twist and all
Mm,
that jazz. I think my thing with trailers nowadays is they used to be short. They used to be short and to the point.
yeah,
I do
I
not want a 2 to 3 minute trailer.
yeah,
Give me 30 seconds. Give me 30
yeah.
seconds to a minute. Oh, you can't put a lot of information in 30 seconds to a minute? Yes, you can. You should just be making it so like, hey, don't you want to know why all this happens? You should watch this movie.
Yeah, and I think I like literally was thinking about this the other night. Like they are trying to oversaturate with all of their marketing to try to get people into the door, but they're not going for their target audience. And I think they need to hold off on if they want people to go to the box office, if they want people in a movie theater, they need to stop streaming. They need to be like, hey, we're having this movie come out in May. If you want to watch it like this year, then you need to come to the theater. Otherwise, we're not releasing it to streaming till 2025.
Which
And it
makes
and
sense to me.
yeah, and like you don't need to do that much marketing. People are either going to come see it or they're not going to come see it. They know that
Do
they follow the people that they love. They know who's in what movies nowadays. They know what movies are coming out like 2 years in advance. So
we
you
have
just
the
need you just
information?
yeah, you just need to be like, hey,
Do
don't
not
forget.
give me a trailer a year before the movie comes out.
Or like a teaser. They're like, oh hey, this is coming out next
Just
year.
tell
I'm
me
like,
it's coming out. Just tell me it's coming out, and we can move on. Just be
yeah,
like, hey, this movie's gonna come out next year. Dope. Good to know. Appreciate it. Moving on.
yeah,
And then like a couple of weeks, a month and a half, 2 months beforehand, if you
yeah,
give out a 30-second trailer, minute trailer, yo,
yeah,
cool. I'm good.
yeah,
Because the fact of the matter is, I understand people's jobs. There are some people that like take a trailer, break down each piece of it. I don't give a shit. If a
yeah. No,
trailer, like I'm gonna go watch. Nowadays, it's like, what's this movie about? I just read synopsises and I'm like, all right, I'll go watch the movie.
yeah. No, I
And
don't.
also, whatever movie Kathleen tells me to watch, guys, she does yell at me till I watch.
Yes. Yeah, I yell. I'm constantly on him
Oh,
over
absolutely.
his shoulder. Yeah, I'll show up at his house. I'll fly all the way to Florida. Be like, "You watched it yet?"
Shows up on it. I was like, so you watch that movie that we talked about?
I
Oh
don't
my
go see. I
god!
don't go see my parents, but I go to Akash to make sure he watches the movie.
No, I very much enjoy doing this. This increases my movie repertoire because most of the movies that we watch, I've never seen,
Yeah,
and so I'm always down for it.
yeah,
So I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited for the next movie.
yeah. I'll have
Any
to.
closing words from you, Kathleen?
Oh gosh, the pressure. No. Watch this movie. Everyone watched it. Prep for Furiosa. I guess we'll find out what our next movie we're gonna watch is.
Because I guess Furiosa won't be the next movie we watch,
Probably
but I know
not,
it'll be in
but
there.
yeah, it'll definitely be in there. And yeah, thanks for joining us, Akash.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. I appreciate being back on here. I enjoy watching the different movies. I'm excited to see what genre of movie we watch next.
Thanks for everyone who watched and or listened to this. And if you made it this long, watch our next one. You know, just keep it rolling, keep that YouTube going, let it scroll to the next one. And hopefully it's our next video.
Thanks for having me, Kathleen. Thanks
Yeah,
for having
yeah.
me on the dive in. I'll
Yes.
see you guys next time.
All right. Bye, everyone.